Well, Riot Forge just made an excellent announcement, which made me so happy I decided to just go out and record a video, which means this video is not gonna have a single edit. In case you don't know, Riot Forge is a publisher under Riot Games. These guys team up with already existing game studios to make games using League's IP, which is why this is so amazing to see. Riot essentially decided to just cut off their lore. It's been 8 months since we got the last non-champion related story, and almost 5 months since the last story related to a new champion. So it seems like Riot is pretty much done telling stories through walls of text. Which is why it is so cool to see Riot Forge still going forward so strongly. Especially since the point of Riot Forge is to tell stories from the League universe without using League. Because League of Legends is a horrible tool to tell stories. Anyway, let's talk about what actually happened. We got a trailer. Now, when this trailer starts, you may notice that it looks very similar to the Call cinematic. I wonder if this is Riot Forge poking fun at the cinematic we got this year. But it's more likely because it's Riot Forge, and so they are forging the new games. Anyway, Willem then knocks up the charts, which reveals the new games. The first one revealed is Song of Nunu. This is a game we've known about for a while now. We already saw some of the gameplay and some of the trailers. It is a game that is gonna take us into the Freljord, where it will likely deal with the story of Nunu's family as well as some shenanigans with Lissandra. Song of Nunu is made by Tequila Works, which is a developer that made adventure games in the past, namely Rime and Guild. So this seems to be their take on an adventure game using League's IP. The important part is that we learned that this game is coming out this year in fall. Originally, this game was supposed to be released last year. In fact, Riot accidentally released the game release bundle of skins in League. So in the past, it did already have a set release date. But this game was delayed a few times so that Riot Forge could make sure this game was really good, which definitely sparks up confidence. And so finally, in fall 2023, we'll get to play Song of Nunu. After this, the trailer showed Convergence. This is also a game about which we have known about and of which we do have some gameplay. It is a 2D platformer made by Double Stallion. Of course, Double Stallion are the devs who made Speed Brawl, which is why it seems like Convergence will be a fast-paced platformer, which will focus on Echo and his tiny little time machine. Besides the last gameplay trailer we got, here we actually got to see some new footage. Like perhaps that first boss? It does seem to be a bit too jacked up for a normal goon. So who knows, maybe this is gonna be a future Cam Baron. Also, I believe that some of these shots are gonna be parts of cinematics, unless they become the release trailer. Unfortunately, I never played Speed Brawl, so I don't have to context as to what the gameplay could be like. I should probably do that soon. And the important info here is that this game is coming out in the summer of 2023. So we're gonna play this before Song of Nunu. And lastly, we got a brand new reveal. The Mageseeker, a Demacian pixel art game about Sylas. Okay, I said new, but a few weeks ago there was a bit of a leak. People found the trademark for this game got locked down, which was revealed publicly. Anyway, this one will be interesting because it is likely that this will be a roguelike game. Past Riot Forge work was always an evolution of an already existing game. Hextech Mayhem was made by the creators of Bit Trip Runner, which Hextech Mayhem was based upon. Ruined King was an evolution of Battle Chasers, both made by a studio called Airship Syndicate. And now Song of Nunu seems to be an evolution of Tequila Works adventure games. Convergence seems to be an evolution of Speed Brawl, which now means that since the Mageseeker is developed by Digital Sun, who made an excellent roguelike called Moonlighter, with Moonlighter being a roguelike about you having a shop, which means you go out and kill monsters and get items. It's a cool roguelike game. But that would mean that Sylas is also getting a roguelike game, which is something totally new for us. Previously, all Riot Forge games were finite. You pretty much finish them and then you're done. If you want something that lasts longer, you have to go to the live games. But a roguelike could counter that. It is a genre known for replayability. So this could be the first Riot Forge game that might get pushed forward with more updates in the future. However, remember that none of this is confirmed. We don't actually know if it is a roguelike game, so I'm just guessing here. Also remember, Riot Forge is all about telling stories, and roguelikes are not really the best at doing that. Unless you want to talk about Hades, which is something I'm gonna talk about in a future video. Hello, this is me from like 2 hours in the future. I also want to point out that we now have some descriptions of the game. And it seems like every site everywhere, including some official sources, are describing this game as an action RPG. There are no mentions of roguelikes anywhere. And I feel if it was a roguelike, it would probably be a strong thing to mention at the beginning. So right now, I am still holding on to my dream that this is gonna be a roguelike, but it can actually be just a story-driven RPG as well. But again, looking at the history of Riot Forge games and how they evolve their past games, I really want this to be a Sylas roguelike. Anyway, now into the past. Or like 2 hours into the past. Anyway, since this is the first time we got to see the Mageseeker in action, let's have a look at what's in the trailer. First, we can see Sylas fighting someone from the Demacian Dauntless Vanguard. But it seems like that soldier is being shielded by a mage. Which also means that this game is probably gonna point at some of the hypocrisy. There is also this frosty beast, which makes me think that this game is gonna happen in a prison. If it is a roguelike game, I would love to see Sylas trying to escape the Demacian prison again and again. And this frosty thing could be just one of the beasts the Demacians captured. Which reminds me, in the canon story, Sylas escaped, then he traveled north to the Freljord to get some allies. But then we technically never learned what happened to Sylas after he decided to march back south onto the Demacians. We got a cinematic, but that cinematic never got a conclusion. So what if Sylas got captured again? And now, in this game, he is trying to escape for the second time. That would be cool. Anyway, moving on, we can then see one of the camps with a mage in it. This would line up with some of the camps Sylas built the first time he escaped. All the mages who wanted to start a revolution lived around Demacia in these little camps. In the next shot, we can see Sylas fighting a Dauntless Vanguard helm. It could be possessed by magic, because it is made out of petricite, so it is constantly absorbing magic, but it could also be a piece of Chaos statue. And lastly, in the bottom corner, we can see that he is fighting some of the Demacian rangers. And the big piece of information here is that this game is coming out in spring 2023. So this is gonna be the first game we get to play. I can also point out that this game got its own website now, with nothing in it. But you can make Sylas dance around. And that's it for this update from Riot Forge. We still know that there should also be a Shuriman game. That one was teased a while ago, but so far we have no idea what that one is about. But I'm just happy something is finally happening at Riot again. I think it's clear that everyone could feel how League kinda slowed down. I don't know on the gameplay side, I haven't played League in a while. But at least the community outside of gameplay kinda dispersed. And now I'm interested to see if people get back together again. Because this year, in 2023, we're gonna be playing 3 Riot Forge games, who have a history of releasing some really good ones. And I am especially excited because all of these games should be pushing the lore of League of Legends forward. Do we wanna bet how many stories we're gonna get until then?